Hi everybody, hey, coming to you from the road today, actually coming to you from the midst of snarly Philadelphia traffic. But the topic for today is really important because if you understand and implement what we're talking about today, it can really boost your productivity in a day, in a period of time, over several days. And the topic is multitasking and the myth that maybe is multitasking, right? Okay, so fundamentally, there are things that you can do effectively from a multitasking standpoint, and these are things you should do. So, for example, I can drive this car and I can talk to you. I could drive the car and make phone calls. I could drive the car and talk to somebody next to me. I could drive the car and listen to an audiobook, listen to a podcast from which I can learn. I could do the same thing when I'm running, right? So if I do something physical, I can also do something sort of mental at the same time. And actually, I recommend that. Turn your car into a rolling university. If you commute for any length of time whatsoever, whether to work or whether anywhere else, doesn't really matter. The point is you can use that time so effectively rather than just pure entertainment time. Hey, listen, sometimes we need a little entertainment, right? It's not that we shouldn't have any entertainment. It's just the point is, if you turn most of that time into more effective, more productive time, you're going to be better off. It's going to help you move forward. Okay, that's effective. Now, what about ineffective? And the problem with the most kinds of multitasking that we do is that we're trying to use the same part of our brain to do more than one thing, and it doesn't work. And here's the thing. Here's where it gets tricky, because our mind is constantly trying to give in to the resistance, constantly trying to let that instant gratification monkey take over. And the problem is we trick ourselves into thinking that, hey, yeah, I'm doing a couple things, I'm busy, I'm important because I'm busy, because I got all these things to do, or, if I do more than one thing at one time, I can get more than one thing done. And the reality is it's just a big myth, right? You can't effectively focus on anything properly to get it done in a reasonable amount of time, and certainly with the quality that you need. Studies show that basically when you switch tasks, when your mind switches from one thing to another, you lose 11 minutes. Okay, that's an average, of course, right? But it's a pretty good and pretty effective way to think about it. Every time you really switch, when you break concentration to try and do something else, you lose 11 minutes. So I don't know how many 11-minute periods you got in your day, but it can't be that many, right? So here is what we do. Here's what I have been doing just in one little thing. And if you do this as well, it liberates your mind. It helps you be more effective on a daily basis. And here's what it has to do with meetings, right? How many of you? I'm one of these people, right? You just get meeting notice after meeting notice after meeting notice, and you look at your day sometimes, you're like, oh, look at all these meetings, right? Now, here's what I want you to understand. You have to first respect your own time. Nobody is going to respect your time unless you first respect your time. Now, that means many things, but here's what it means when it comes to this particular topic, right? When you see a day stacked up with a bunch of meetings, or when meeting notices start coming in, here's what I have started to do, and it's been great. And I recommend you start doing the same thing. So this is what I do. If I get invited to a meeting, I look at three things. The first thing I look at is, was I just invited to this because out of courtesy? If that's the case, I never attend. I simply decline. I speak to the person. This is not a secret. I'm not being belligerent. I just say, hey, listen, I got more important things to do, or whatever. Do I need to be there? Are you looking for something from me, or are you trying to provide information to me? And if the answer is no, then I just simply decline. You don't need to be there. I don't need to be there. Okay? And that frees up whatever that time is for you to focus on something else. And the other two things, so if it's a meeting that you do need to be at, because it would be one of two things. Either you need to provide information, or you're going to obtain valuable information. Okay? And those are probably meetings you have to be at. But here's what you need to do. Respect your time. Make sure those meetings occur at a time that works for you. Not necessarily that's super convenient. It doesn't have to be convenient, but it does have to work in your schedule, right? You need periods of time to focus. You need contiguous periods of time to not be distracted by things like meetings, right? So make sure that if that meeting is important, or the discussion, maybe it's a one-on-one, maybe it's a group meeting, doesn't matter. The point is if it's important, either you need to provide information or you're going to get information, then make sure that works for you in your schedule. Also, make sure the length of the meeting is appropriate. Always, 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 always be trying to make the meeting shorter. Always be trying to make the meeting shorter. If the meeting notice comes in an hour, you say to the person who's organizing, "Hey, I think we can do this in a half an hour," or "Can we do this in a half an hour?" Because at 9 times out of 10 you can. Now, here's one of the reasons that meetings drag out. Because everybody's trying to multitask in the meeting. So here's the next thing. When you are in the meeting, if it's a teleconference, shut off the notifications on the phone. Don't look at email. Don't do any of those things, because if you're able to do those things while the meeting's going on, you don't need to be there. So that's one of your gauges. Here's the next thing. If the meeting is in person, if it's, you guys are all physically in the room, or most of you, maybe somebody's on the phone, whatever, keep the shell, keep the top down on the laptop, turn the phone over, turn the notifications off, and be present. If you are present with the people in the room, that does a couple things. First of all, if you're focused, that rubs off. Other people see that and they start to get focused as well. It makes the meeting so much more efficient if everybody that's in the discussion is focused. You can turn an hour-and-a-half meeting into 30 minutes if everybody is focused. So, model that behavior and then start to demand it from the other people in the room, okay? What that does is it gives you so much more time, and it liberates your mind. You don't ever walk into the office in the morning, or start your day wherever that is, and look at the calendar and go, "Oh, I'm not going to get anything done today," right? Because 9 times out of 10, those meetings, most of them are not that important. And if you can do other things while you're in that meeting, then chances are you don't need to be there. So that's the one thing you want to do today. There are many other great tips about how to turn off multitasking, but that's the one thing we want you to do today, is just get more efficient about your meetings. More efficient, focused time. Stop trying to multitask during those times, okay? Hey, want to hear which other tips that you guys have for ways to make your day more productive, other multitasking stories? If you have those kinds of things, find me on my website, johnmackonline.com. Connect with me in any way you can. Love to hear your stories, love to hear your feedback, and as always, have a great day. Thanks. See ya.